everybody. We are back one stroke at a time with Mike and Roddy. And we have started festivities off the correct way with another beer. And this first beer that we have this week is an Arkansas brewery, it's Fossil Cove. And the name of the beer is the Birch Avenue Blonde. And it's got quite some artistic design on the label. Reminds me of Cracked magazine back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's really smooth, right, Roddy?
Very good. Very good.
Roddy, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm just hanging along.
Hey, I had already visited with Roddy. I wanted to ask him because we haven't seen each other in just a little bit. We have a lot going on in our lives. We'll start out on a positive note. I want to ask Roddy how his voting experience went in the pandemic that we're under and what he thinks about everything. So, Roddy, you go at it.
Well, I am the victor of my voting.
Nice. You're pleased with the results is what you're trying to tell me.
That's
right. Nice. But how did it, my wife and I, we voted, originally had scheduled to vote in mail. And then because of the doofus, we just thought, let's not give any excuses. So we submitted or surrendered our mail-in ballots and we voted in person, but it was early on. So there were no lines. What was it like for you? How did it go? How did it go for you?
It was about I'm like in the podunk. So it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes and it was final.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the area was like an hour or more.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got in and out pretty quick.
Yes.
Did everybody follow protocol pretty much?
No.
A little bit, no.
No.
It has been a crazy couple of weeks, Roddy. I mean, obviously, Biden-Harris ticket has won, but we still have this child in the White House that's crying about it, and it's embarrassing for someone that you and I have both been politically active for a long time. But I just remember as a kid, there was a respect level at all the offices and all the positions held in between the parties, and it's all gone. But it's just disappointing. But, I don't know what I would have done if the results had turned out different as far as despair.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm grateful for everybody that voted either side. I'm more grateful for people that voted on the side of decency, but that's all good. I'm not going to lie, Roddy, it's been a tough couple of weeks for me and my family. We unfortunately lost our dad about 9 days ago. And, he'd been sick for a couple years, had kind of turned a corner. Quality of life had gone up quite a bit, and he got COVID on October 1st. And we were all nervous when it happened, and then it seemed like he had done really well. Doctors were pretty enthusiastic, thinking we were out of the woods, and got a phone call. 3 of my sisters had all talked to him the morning of, and then the doctor came in. About 40 minutes later, a nurse called and said he had gone into septic shock, and about 35 minutes later, he was gone.
Wow.
And, not going to lie, it's been a tough spot. Today was his wake prayer session. And, I'm originally from Long Island, so obviously I couldn't go back there. The logistics of it, going back there, quarantining, coming back here, quarantining, possibility of, if I got COVID back there, having to stay till you're COVID free, just logistically didn't make any sense. If we're trying to do the right thing, which I am. But I watched the prayer session live stream. That's a first for me. I've never done anything like that. And tomorrow is his funeral ceremony on live stream. So, on one side of the coin, I'm grateful for the country, and on the other side, it's been a hard time. And the disappointing time, honestly, Roddy, is, other than obviously losing our father and the emotions that go with it, but the number of people that are friends and what have you that are still naysayers on, is this pandemic real? Is, the number of people dying, is that real? And here I sit with my family and our father's passed away, and it just, I read that, and I've cleaned house a little bit. I just started getting rid of people, and what are you going to do? So tough spot. Let's have a drink of beer. Here's to my pops. Italian named Cookie. You got to be pretty tough to have a nickname. I mean, you just don't call an Italian guy Cookie and get away with it unless it's all right?
That's right.
Anyway, spinning that through, we're grateful that hopefully things are going to turn up for a lot of people that have been kind of put to the side. But we're going to roll into a little bit of information. Roddy and I had talked earlier, and we kind of wanted to break down his journey a little bit. Last time we talked, he went through the gamut of, hey, this happened, and we went through about 5 or 6 things. So today, I thought we maybe would try to break it down so you could see what Roddy went through in depth. So, Roddy, did we think we were going to talk about the first stay at the hospital, or what did you want to go with?
Well, like yourself, you maybe in working out or working or laying around the house and television, and somebody just, I think I'm having a stroke.
Yeah.
And maybe a major stroke. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So you have to, the emergency, just a minute. The ambulance. You have to have an ambulance. Okay? Then the emergency. And she said, and then they says, hey, major stroke.
Can I ask, when you were in the ambulance, were you like coherent? Were you, what do you?
I was
in and out?
In and out.
You remember? I mean, can you think and go, yeah, I can remember the inside, or I remember this?
Oh, yeah, I can remember that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But it was like come and go.
Yeah.
Come and go.
Yeah.
And then the emergency room. I cannot, maybe just maybe a sliver of, I remember just a sliver of, what am I doing? What am I? And then that was it.
Yeah.
So the emergency says, well, major stroke. You have to go to ICU.
They just told you that right out. Just here's what's the deal.
Yeah. And then
can I ask a question? How do you, like, we always say we're prepared for this, but we're not. How did anybody get in touch with your family, or do you even remember that happening?
I was at the gym, so.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, I have a lot of friends at the gym, so it's like that's it.
They made it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I cannot remember because my mom is in my dad's. My dad, just a minute, my mom's place.
Yeah.
And so she has a it's a lane line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's this is
old school.
Old school. So it's like I cannot remember nothing about that shit. So it was, but anyway.
So the Pony Express came and told your mom, is what you're trying to tell me. Dude.
Yes. And it's so it's like it was a weird sensation. It's like it's coming in and out, and it's like, and I'm still not grasping what has happened to this.
Right. But you couldn't really say anything at that point, right?
No.
You were just like inside your own head.
Yeah. So so it was a weird situation.
Yeah.
So,
so let's try to tell me, first night where you just stayed in, how many days, how many weeks did you stay in ICU?
ICU, A week.
Okay.
A week. Now, 2 of them, sedations. 2 day of sedations.
You were out.
Yeah.
They did that purposely.
Yeah. Yeah.
To try to figure out where you were at, what had happened.
Yeah.
Man, that's.
Whew. So it's like, I cannot remember anything.
Well, I'm going to go on a limb and say that if you could have said anything, it would have been Aswibe, asshole,
Yeah.
or fuck off.
Yeah.
So
Something
when
like
did
that.
when did you start coming around a little bit as far as pretty aware of what's happening and when did you get the realization I can't communicate?
Yeah. It was still not easy. It's still, I cannot remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon, I was like, hey, where am I? Where am I?
No,
And then it was just like,
didn't matter.
and then I cannot remember nothing. So I remember trying to figure out my friends to find her out my passwords of my phone. I have to pay bills, so I was like, my mom, thank God, she was the saint.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I gotta write something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
you don't really think of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, what is or who is my backup plan?
Yeah.
As far as day to day.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah, and it was like I said, it was slipping up and slipping down. I cannot remember this. I cannot remember that. I have a feeding tube, but I teeny tiny do this feeding tube because I can't eat.
Right.
So I'm like, I remember it's like something was sticking or some the nurse sticking something in my nostrils, and I'm like, what is this? What
What are you doing?
It's like, Jesus Christ.
You just sounded a little Irish.
Yeah.
Or Scottish.
Yeah.
Hey.
And it was like, it was, I remember the last time I was like, I'm thinking, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Okay.
I get it now. But this like two days of just slipping in and out of.
So when it, obviously not necessarily communicating to people at the time, but when it hit you, all right, I did have a stroke. These people were telling me, were you just like, how the fuck did this just happen?
Yeah.
Just like, what are you talking about? I had a stroke. And just like, there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my sister's like, well, something happened. Something happened and we got to fix it. I mean, we want to know the answer to this.
Which makes sense.
Well,
That's just reaching out and saying.
I was like, what? This stroke. What? So
cause and effect.
Cause and effect. I'm like, I don't. And the doctor, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. Because you're not really, of course, there's probably more like you than we realize, but you're not the typical person lined up with a bunch of things they're doing that's going to cause them to have a freaking massive stroke.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess that's one of the lessons we're kind of trying to get across. Like you've said, anybody, anytime, anywhere, doing anything, this could happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say you're in your head, you're playing around with the idea like, okay, I get it. Do you happen to remember when you realized this is going to take some shit? This is going to take some time. I'm going to have to really do some things to make this different.
Yeah. I remember in the ICU, I remember people around me, and it's like, I have to go to work. I have to go to work because I have bills.
Yeah.
I have to work.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the time? The time is maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and that's over.
Yeah. When can I jump back in?
Yeah, I gotta work. I was like, nope, you can't go work. Like, why?
And then when you found that out, it wasn't like now where if, let's say you were working and you lost your job, you could express to me now how upsetting that is or what you think. Back then, you didn't have the ability to do that, right? In your head,
you're... Like I said, though, this brain, myself, the brain of the left part of the brain, it was dead. Yeah. They're dying. They are no longer assist.
Yeah. Not pulling their load.
Yeah. It's like, you cannot I cannot remember a lot of words. Yeah. I can't remember phrases. I can't do nothing. So it's like, what is this in this brain that's trying to tell me something?
Just now that you said you couldn't say certain phrases, can I just ask, like, I know for a long time and even to this day, like you want to say a specific number and sometimes that doesn't, the right one doesn't roll out. No. But when that was first happening, like say back then you had looked at a clock and you were like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. Even though you couldn't say it, you still knew what 7 o'clock looked like on a clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew it was there. You just
can't communicate.
Right. So you never lost the ability to observe some of these things. Yeah. You just couldn't throw them back in words to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roddy, I'm telling you, every time we talk, I just think a little bit of, it really is a difficult journey to imagine. It's just like, and that's why I think it's great that you're getting this out there, because I think other people are going to hear it and they're going to be like, oh shit, this guy, and do you remember, we'll jump around just a little bit, but you remember when we went to that fantastic Show Me Brewing over there on the place by Craft?
Oh, yes.
They teach people how to make beer. And listen, honestly, in the Springfield area, those guys are as top shelf as anybody. They put out some really good beer, and they're just the friendliest people. And you ran into the co-owner, and she had also been very physically fit.
Yes.
And in fact, you were at CrossFit. She had her massive stroke, I think, at the Y.
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
And you guys just clicked and started telling your stories. And I remember, it might be neat to take this someday and have her be a guest. We'll have to mask up, social distance, whatever. But you guys you had struck a commonality that you didn't expect. We just went in there to have a couple of beers, and all of a sudden you find somebody that went through some of the same issues, because she had a lot of similarities with her stroke issues that you were having. And, she was, first of all, just a super person. But so there's got to be other people that if they were to listen to this, they might feel, oh man, that's my story too. And that's, that's why we're doing the whole thing. Right. So anyway, hey, let's take a little breather. Let's take a little sip off of this beer. We'll finish this one. We'll come back at you here in just a little bit with another session, and we'll have another beer to work us through it. All right. Appreciate you guys being here, listening to Roddy, and the two of us go on and on and on. All right. Check out.